Hello, beautiful souls. It's Stephanie Levinston. And I'm just settling my energy in this moment to talk to you about a situation that just happened with me that I'm still processing. It just happened. And it was... I don't really have words. I'll tell you what happened. But before I do that, it's funny how my dark hair blends into this black background. I have to give you a little bit of background so that you can understand the impact of this situation. Not too long ago, maybe about a month or 6 weeks ago, I watched some webinars on the topics of cancer and pesticides and cancer and a whole bunch of stuff. In fact, I watched a series called The Truth About Pet Cancer because I have 3 dogs and I want to keep them healthy, and I wanted to learn more about how I can do that, what I don't know. And I learned a whole lot. In fact, I learned so much that now I am cooking some of my pets' food instead of buying the dry kibble, because I learned that dried food is not healthy for them. It comes from the proteins from there come from feedlots, which is basically the discarded, undesired pieces of animal flesh. And that's why they're able to call it like chicken meal or salmon meal or, anything that has meal, the word meal in it. Anyway, I'm not here to educate you on your pet's food. Just to say that the reason I'm so interested now in cancer is because I am deeply affected by it through the effect that it's having on those that are so close to me. So one of my dearest friends is in a, I don't want to call it a battle because I don't like using words of war and violence against illness, but has brain cancer. And then one of my dearest friend's husbands just had a horrible bout with cancer as well, and had a series of chemotherapy and radiation for that. And then I have a very close family member who is also dealing with a diagnosis of cancer. And then I have a very close friend whose young son, has brain cancer. So like many of you, I am very touched by the epidemic of cancer and how it is showing up in more and more and more of us. And because of my beliefs about, and my knowledge base really, about the environment and what we have done to our beautiful planet in terms of chemicals and pesticides and herbicides and everything, all of the damage that we're causing, it's not a surprise that cancer is on the rise. We all have cancer cells in our bodies, even those of us that are picture of health. And when certain environments are created, those cells can grow out of control and grow tumors, etc. I'm not an expert on cancer, and I'm just doing more research because so many people that I love are dealing with a lot of difficulty with this diagnosis. So a while ago, I was watching another webinar. In addition to the pet cancer one, I was watching a webinar on glyphosate, which is the chemical that is used in the product called Roundup. And lots of you may, we see Roundup everywhere. It's on the shelves of our garden stores. You can go to Lowe's and Home Depot and go to the garden section, and you can go to any really anywhere that sells plants and has yard supplies, and you're going to see this product which is made of this chemical glyphosate. Well, glyphosate is a known carcinogen. It's a known carcinogen. It causes cancer. And because of all the things going on in our current administration, where the focus is much more heavily, if not entirely, focused on the bottom line in terms of the dollar amount, the public is not getting the information that we need in order to make very informed decisions about what we buy and what we put on our plants, on what we call our weeds, right? And things like that. So I watched this webinar about kind of how much is being hidden from us because the companies, there's a protection for those companies so that they will continue to make money at the cost of human health, at the cost of plant health, at the cost of the health of our planet and all the animals and beings within it. So there's that. That's the background. Well, in my neighborhood, every day I walk my dogs, which is like 4 or 5 times a day. At any given time, I can count at least half a dozen of these little signs that are placed in the yards of neighbors when they have their lawns treated with pesticides, herbicides, to plant weed killers. Again, what's a weed really? It's just our own determination of an unwanted plant, but a plant is a plant. So the signs look like this. I went and I snagged a neighbor's sign. I don't know that it probably will be reversed. I don't know how to reverse the text on here, but basically it says pesticide application, keep off until dry. And they're put out there by whatever company is spraying, and there's tons of companies that do the spraying. Well, I've always wondered to myself, do we really believe that when that spray is dry, that it's no longer a hazard to us? So we spray a chemical on the earth, and then somehow magically, when it dries, it's just no longer a hazard. It's a hazard when it's wet, so you have to put this sign on there to say don't go on it when it's wet, which by the way is nearly impossible to do because you don't know always when it was sprayed. This particular company put a date on it. Some of them do, maybe they're all required to, but I don't know anybody that checks the dates on those. And then when they're dry, what happens? It just magically disappears? No, it doesn't magically disappear. It's there, it's on our earth, it's in our earth. And the next time it rains or the next time the sprinkler system comes on, well then it's wet again. The water mixes with the chemical and rehydrates, for lack of a better word, and it's got to be a danger again. This is my wondering as I'm out walking my dogs. And so there really isn't a lawn in my neighborhood that I can say well, there's one that I know of, in addition to mine, that doesn't get regularly sprayed for these weeds. So that's to say that I can let my dogs walk on these 2 areas of grass. These are the only 2 homes that I know for sure don't spray regularly. Well, that's not going to happen. So one of the things that I learned in The Truth About Pet Cancer is that the cancer for dogs is on the rise, and one of the veterinarians interviewed said she felt strongly that it was because dogs are much lower to the earth than we are, and we're walking them outside and they are picking up, they're walking, traipsing across these pesticides that we spray with, and that's getting into their system. So the dog gets it on their paws, they come back to your house, it's now in your house, they lick their paws just as part of regular grooming. This is for cats as well, and they ingest that. And that, it's a known, like I said, glyphosate is a known carcinogen, and so they're swallowing that. This week, probably a few days ago, because I get really tense when I see these signs everywhere. It feels like a problem that is so big, and I don't know how to address it or how to make more people aware of it. And I had this conversation inside my mind, what do I do? How do I help? How do I be a positive impact here in a way that uses my energy wisely and doesn't overwhelm me, because I do get overwhelmed by some of these huge issues. They impact me very deeply. They affect me as they should. And so I've been pondering this for a while. I need to do a Facebook Live on this. I need to talk to people and let them hear and understand how this is a major cause of unwellness, of disease on our planet. The fact that we have been literally dousing Mother Earth with dangerous chemicals that don't go away when they're dry. They just get washed into the water system. We end up drinking glyphosate. It's in our yikes. Shh, come here. Sorry, guys. It's one of the dogs. We end up drinking it. It gets onto our water system. And so so today I was taking one of my dogs for a walk, and we were passing by at this neighbor's home. I don't know them. They were outside with their dog, and they said, can we introduce our dog to yours? And I happened to be walking my very friendly dog, so I said, of course, and the dogs played together, and it was very sweet. Well, the husband came out, and he was holding a can of Roundup. He had been in the back spraying weeds. They were preparing their home for a sale. So they were cleaning up the outside of it. And when my dog went over and kind of put her paws up on him, he was very good. He was very careful. He sort of leaned back and he said, I don't want to pet her because I have these chemicals, like I've been spraying chemicals. I know the chemicals are on me. And I, of course, didn't want that for her either. So we're standing there talking for a little bit. The dogs are playing, and all of a sudden, he did not intend for this to happen. It was like a freak thing. The nozzle that sprays that chemical shot the chemical out, and it sprayed on my dog. And there was this moment where we were all mortified. Like, oh my gosh. I just learned about that chemical. That is the worst thing. Like, I cannot believe it. And then there was a part of my brain that said, I don't want him to feel badly. He was absolutely just mortified. And I wanted to rescue him from feeling too badly about this. And so, and he said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I said, okay, that's okay. I said, I'm gonna need to wash her when we get home. And I was trying to think of how to make a quick exit so I could rush home and wash that off of her. It got on her head, it was on her back. I didn't even see where else it landed. It was like this stream of poison, aimed right at my dog, though not intentionally. And he said, well, I have a hose. Maybe we should rinse her with the hose. So we decided that's a great idea. So at least we can dilute it and rinse it as much away as we can. So we get the hose. And then I say, okay, I'm going to take her home now and bathe her. And he said, well, I have dog shampoo. Do you want to use that? Oh, perfect. Yes, please. Thank you. So he gets the dog shampoo, and we scrub down my dog. I scrub down my dog. And they're very apologetic. And I heard, as I'm kind of frantic about this because, horrible, I heard the universe, I heard my guides say, you were looking for a way to educate others. Here you go. And so I said to the couple, I've just learned about the chemical that's in that product that you're using. It's really bad for everybody. It's bad for our environment. It's bad for our animals. It ends up in our drinking water. And the man said, I did just read some information that there are lawsuits against the company that makes it, and because it's carcinogenic. I said, that's right. It is. Which brings me to my wondering that when we know that we are doing something or using something that is dangerous, it's our responsibility to stop doing that. And I'm not blaming this man. I'm not even pointing a finger at him. I'm saying all of us, and I'm including myself. I'm absolutely including myself in this equation. Because when we get into a habit, whether it's a habit of purchasing a certain product or using a certain product or whatever we're doing that we know is not healthy, is dangerous, in fact, we have to sit for a moment and search inside, what is a better option here? What can I do to make a difference? How can I do this differently? And so this man who just acknowledged, yeah, I read information about it, and here I am spraying it all over, the outside of my house. He's a perfect example of that. And like I said, we all do this. We all do this. I have chemicals in my garage that are dangerous for the environment. I cannot tell you how many fights that my husband and I have had because he wants to spray the weeds on our patio, and I am dead set against it. And sometimes I acquiesce. But it's really not okay. It's just not okay. When you know better, you do better. This is what we've got to do. We have got to take a stand for our health, because we as humans can only be as healthy as the earth. And she ain't healthy, people, because of us, the damage that we've created, what we are doing. And I'm not saying this to be a Debbie Downer. I am saying this because it is time to shift the tides. It is time to turn this around. It is time to say, no, I'm not going to use that product anymore. I read about it. It's dangerous. It's causing cancer and a whole lot more. That's just one symptom. It's creating devastation in the waterways, with the fish, it's widespread. And this is just one product of many. This is just one example. So we get finished bathing the dog, and I quickly, I walk home, and then I give her a second bath. I'm kind of frantic by this point, just with worry. Did I get all of it off of her? I didn't even see where all got sprayed. Is she going to be okay? What happened? Like when an animal gets sprayed with a highly concentrated, deadly chemical, what do you do besides bathe them and wash them and clean them off? So I gave her a second bath, more thorough this time. And now I pray and I hope that nothing, really damaging. But to say that hit close to home is a gross understatement. And what's interesting is when I left them, and like I said, these are lovely people. They mean well. They did not intend for that to happen, and they did everything that they should have done to make sure that my dog was going to be okay. And when I left, the man said, thank you he said, I'm so sorry about that again, and thank you for letting me know. I'm going to get rid of this product. I'm not going to use it again. And I thought, it just makes me emotional. The whole thing was really overwhelming. But I thought, well, there's one person that I've reached. And that matters. Because if he does change his behavior, and stop buying that product, stop using it, maybe he will tell someone else about this experience. Maybe it definitely impacted me. We're not using that anymore anywhere, and I'm going to be much more aware of what we're using and what our lawn company, in fact, is using as well. Because we don't need to use things that create damage on our earth ever. Whether it's for a weed killer or improving the health of your outdoor plants, you don't need to use chemicals, harmful chemicals. In fact, of course you don't need to. Doesn't that just sound counterintuitive? Oh, I want my lawn to look beautiful and healthy, so here, let me douse it with some chemicals so those plants that I don't want will die and only my grass will thrive. Well, it's all got an impact. It's all got an impact, and we all need to be stewards of this beautiful planet. and educate ourselves. And whatever doesn't sit well within is because it's not supposed to. It's not supposed to sit well within us. We can't just go around spraying and be like, well, this isn't the greatest thing to do, but it's the only thing we have. No, it's not. There are a lot of products that are organic, that are useful. You can Google them. You can make your own solutions, actually, that dry out weeds, and then you can pluck them out. Anyways, I really needed to share that with you because I have asked the universe, can you show me how I should talk about this to other people? And the universe said, yeah, here's a way. Is that crazy? All right, dear ones, much love. I hope this has some sort of an impact.